Many people struggle with anxiety and stress in their daily lives, and finding effective ways to unwind can be challenging. I know I have, and it's something that affects so many of us. We often find ourselves caught up in the hustle and bustle of everyday life, and it's easy to get lost in the chaos. So, finding a way to calm our minds and soothe basically our entire being is essential. So the demands of everyday life can be overwhelming. It's not uncommon to feel drained and exhausted. Our minds are constantly racing, and it can be difficult to quiet everything. This is where sketching comes in. It's a good way for us to find inner peace and also to get our creative juices flowing, especially for folks who believe that they've never been creative to begin with. So one of the things that I like to talk about is finding art inside of you that you didn't know you had, and also getting back into art if you've let it lay dormant for a very long time. I'm talking about sketchbooks that you may have in your house that you have not touched in a very long time. It could even be years. I know that there are quite a bit of stories that I get every time I post a video where grown adults can or will admit that they have not drawn in years, since high school, decades even, and they get back into it just by doodling. So one of the things that I want to mention here is when you watch me draw this picture today, I just want you to know that if you open your sketchbooks and you start loosely sketching without worrying about the outcome, you're going to produce art that you're way more proud of than buying a brand new sketchbook, worrying about the blank sheets and expecting the art to be amazing on it. Otherwise, you've ruined the sketchbook. This is something that I've had to deal with for so long. And when I got older, I realized that none of that mattered anymore. So much so that we live in a microwave generation now. We need instant validation for our stuff. And if we do not get validation in the form of likes and subscribers and recognition, then we either feel inadequate or we feel like we're pursuing the wrong thing. So meditative art, which is the essence of what I'm teaching today. Art itself and sketching can help anybody. It's not just, oh, well, you have to be an artist. Like, no. That's the stigma. Well, not the stigma. I think that's a bad choice of words. That's usually the thought process when it comes to people that have never drawn before. I give a lot of lessons on this channel about how to improve your art skills for those of you that already sketch. But at the same time, I try to hit the other side of it where maybe you've never drawn before in your life, or if you have, it's only been stick figures. Hey, it's a start, right? If you look up at the picture that I'm drawing, this is a bird warrior, and you can see that when I started this sketch, it was just my paper, just my pencil, and I was allowing my hand to just flow across it, not caring about where each individual line was going. What I did was I created an abstract shape with a bunch of lines overlapping each other at different line weight. So if you're sketching along with me right now, which I hope you are, make sure that you start to overlap these lines by pushing harder on certain lines and releasing pressure on others. That creates depth right away without you having to be a master shader or some kind of genius when it comes to sketching. This is about patience. This is about building up a drawing. And also, just remember that if you constantly have this end goal in mind of what the drawing is supposed to be like, that is going to be the downfall. All right. Now, there is a flip side to that coin, though. And if you're if you were hired by a client and you have a brief and you have to go in a certain direction, that's one thing. But we're not talking about that right now. We're just talking about, hey, it's Saturday or Sunday morning, or maybe it's your day off from work. It's sunny outside. Maybe it's rainy outside. And you need something to calm your mind. And you just start sketching, not caring about, what's going to happen. Then you're going to get good results. Have you ever noticed that whenever you started a task, if it's a creative task, or if it's something that didn't require a lot of energy to pre-plan, the results were 10 times better in the outcome than what would have happened if you would have planned it and it not go according to plan. I just said plan maybe like 30 times. Sorry about that. But it's when we don't really care about the outcome and we're just enjoying the process of drawing. So one of the things that I ask a lot of my mentees and a lot of my students that want to come into this industry and want to be a good artist, but they're not one right now, I ask them, do you love the idea of being a good artist? Or do you actually love doing the art? And those are two different things. Do you enjoy going to the art store and buying the pencils and the sketchbooks and references and tools and everything? Or do you not really think about that? You just imagine in your head that you just want to be a famous artist. Or you just like the idea of being able to say that you're good at it. Because those are two different things. So if you find yourself just thinking it's neat to be able to draw, hey man, that's cool. I think it would be neat to slam dunk a basketball. I can't do that. And there's a lot of other things that I would find it would be neat to do. Like drive an F1 car. I don't do that. Okay, I can't even tell you the last time I was operating a stick. I'm an automatic car driver. Don't judge. But when it comes to art, maybe some of you, or a lot of you, don't feel like you're a good artist. Okay? Just watch my hand here. Just watch how my hand flows from one end of the picture to another. You can do this. Come on, folks. There's nothing fancy about this here. Now, there is something that I do want to say, though, and it's the years of experience do come in when you move quickly across the page, just because the hand-eye coordination and the muscle memory is there. Maybe you guys are a little slower and you just haven't built that up yet. That's fine. That's achievable. Okay. Everything I'm doing now, it's just a bunch of mechanical movements that I have done for 41 years. All right. And you'll get there in a much, much lesser of time. It doesn't take that long to at least establish some kind of like second nature motor skills. Okay. Think about when you practice an instrument or you practice anything that requires grabbing something and moving. You can learn and pick up that stuff pretty quickly. And it's just a matter of repetition. So this creature / bird warrior evolved from that big thumbnail sketch that I was doing. Also, another thing that I want to mention, I throw out the term thumbnail sketching in both my video titles, in my videos during my lessons, and they're typed out on my thumbnail images. A thumbnail sketch is a small sketch that you start with to build something up later. Okay, think about, hey, the size of my thumbnail, okay? It's supposed to represent smaller doodles before you refine them and jump into the bigger ones. So that's what that means. Because I know among the content creator world, we hear thumbnail, we think, oh, the image that's associated with our video, like we have to make it awesome. It's like, no. I'll just draw and take pictures and put it on there and that's it. But anyway, you can see that the lines surrounding the head are the secondary focus. So when you're drawing, you're doodling right now, ask yourself, within each individual drawing, which part of it do you want to sell? That means, what's the most important part? What do you want we as the viewer, or you as the viewer, to know that it is the most important part of that drawing? If you're drawing a creature, gun, prop, tree, your pet, doesn't matter. For me, I always like to focus around the eye area. That's just been my thing since I started drawing. Later on, I know that I take out this eyeball and then I draw a new one because I don't like it. One of the rare instances that I use an eraser. But whenever I'm drawing, I tend to start putting the details around the eye because, to me, the personality, the feeling, and the mood happens near the eye and what kind of energy the character is giving off, or creature. Now, if you're drawing a creature that doesn't have any eyes, or it has such jet black, merciless, evil eyes like a squid or a shark that there's no facial expression, it's okay. That in itself is the personality also. And when I say personality, maybe they don't have a personality. Maybe it's just the mood that you're trying to set. If you're drawing a demon, if you're drawing a zombie with sunken in eyeballs and it's just black and the pupils are like, the grossness that you see in horror movies, you could treat that as a personality. You get that feeling coming out. Okay, so here, the trick that I've been doing for years, and this is what I teach, is multi-layered shading. So think of it as layering and layering and layering until you get a nice coating of graphite across the entire image that you want, and then you place the details on top of that. That's key. And this is probably the most therapeutic part of any kind of art, shading, because it starts to make things look 3D. It's starting to bring it all together. All right. So here I'm just having total fun with this character. The other thing that I still struggle with, I'll admit this, is while I'm drawing and just having fun sketching creatures, I start to think about similar characters or creatures that I have drawn in the past that I think I did better on. And what I want to do immediately, and this happened during this sketch, I wanted to stop the drawing and I wanted to go back several years, like the other sketchbooks that I had piled around my desk, and I wanted to compare this bird warrior to another one that I think I drew maybe 8 years ago. And like, that's not a good way of thinking. So I had to stop myself and, just embrace what I drew here. And then, we'll move on to the next lesson. It's never going to stop. We as artists, we second guess ourselves all the time. It doesn't matter how much experience you have in anything. We're always comparing. And if it's not comparing our art with another artist, it's, hey, is this the best drawing that I have done so far, or am I, relapsing into my older bad habits that prevented me from getting good? So that's just part of the journey, everybody. So look down at your sketchbooks right now and ask yourself, hey, what am I drawing? Are you drawing something cool? Do you feel like you need to turn the page? If you are drawing with a pencil, hopefully you have not used the eraser yet. All right. Now, if you are drawing with a pen, then you have to embrace that immediately because you cannot erase that. So here I'm just putting in details of some thicker fur or feathers that are growing off the head and the neck because I wanted to put some texture in there. This is the exact moment when you are going to be thankful that you put that layer of shading on that neck or that subject that you're sketching prior to putting details on it. Because what's happening now is that all of those tiny little markings that I'm putting down where the feathers are on the neck and the forehead and everything, they look way better because I shaded already underneath it. the common problem among younger artists when they jump right into detail is that the details go down first, and then they have to actually shade in between the details later, which is so time consuming. It is mentally taxing, and it's going to tire you out, and you're probably going to screw up because there's nothing even shading wise underneath everything. So now I'm putting thicker feathers down on the neck, and of course finding other places on the armor to draw stuff too. But here is a prime example of that layering effect and how it comes in handy. So you can see that each little feather that I'm putting on the face, the shading in between it is taking care of all of the values in between. It's helping me mix everything together. There we go. So those of you that are trying to draw hair, maybe you're doing a face or something, just know that hair and fur on characters, whatever you're drawing, they usually grow in clumps. Okay, so try not to draw every single strand. So here is a trick that I want to explain. You can see that my pencil is moving in smaller, almost oval movements, and that allows me for a softer stripe across the top of the head. I was thinking about giving it some war paint, but then I thought, you know what, it's probably going to make it a little too busy. So I'm just putting in those larger feathers now going down the neck. I don't want to spend too much time on these feathers just because I can easily get lost and immersed in this process, and I want to keep it as simple as possible. And I'm also focusing on the beak. That's another area if you're drawing birds, or if your creature has horns even, or claws, that the extra skin and the dentine and whatever else the horns and the fingernails and everything are made of, you can put some aging effects in there just by smaller little cracks and divots and different different heights on the texture. That's the one instance where I erased the eyeball because I feel like it was too black and a little too small. So what I did was I just increased the size of it, for better or for worse. I almost second guessed myself when I did that. I just felt compelled to actually change that eye size just because I feel like some of the character was lost a little bit. That happens too, because you want to leave some of the iris and everything seen, so that we can feel that connection with the character. I hope you guys enjoyed today. Check the links in the description below if you're interested in joining our Creature Design Workshop Discord. Okay. And if you just want to get better at drawing in general, we have a lot of different sketchbook threads, critique forums on there, and we have monthly creature design challenges. And it's not just for creature designers. If you guys want to learn to draw other stuff, we have a reference cache, and it's updated weekly, with people putting in new reference images and everything. I also run a mentorship, a private mentorship over my Discord. So if you want to become better at drawing in general, please email me at bobbyrebholz@gmail.com. And if you're a member of our Discord already, just DM me on the Discord so I know it's you, and then we can set up consultation. Thanks, everybody. You all have been awesome. And don't hesitate to leave a comment. See you later.